There you go by. Yeah, that's right. That one's done.
Got a minute.
Seconds.
Can I see that pen real quick? Sure. Thank you. Hey, Doug, there's a drawer right there that's got pens in it.
I think.
Got markers.
Usually there's a pen in there.
No, I'm good.
Pass that on. You guys need one?
No, I don't need it. You might need one. Never know.
Let's call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Marcus Major.
Here.
Jaden Bailey.
Here.
Alan Stewart.
Here.
William Butchick.
Here.
I'm here. Doug Tyson.
Here.
Steve Skeet.
Here.
Will Schmidt.
Here.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh.
apologize for interrupting you, but if you can indulge me for a moment, I'd like to introduce two people to you. I don't believe some of you may have met. This is Mr. John Jacobson. He's the new Planning and Zoning Director for the county. John has decades of experience in planning and zoning issues. I think you're going to find him to be a great resource for you, and I hope you'll welcome him. Second person I'd like you to meet is Ms. Misty Brown. Misty is the new part of the legal department, the only other part of the legal department. Misty will probably be taking the majority of planning and zoning issues after a transition period over the next month or two. I think I would like you to consider Misty as valuable a resource as I am, and I would tell you this: I think you should trust any opinion she renders to you the same as you would trust mine. She's very, very qualified, has a wealth of experience in municipal law, and I think you'll find her to be a great resource to you. So you've got a new planning and zoning director, probably new legal counsel in the next month or two, so there will be a transition period. But I think by the time the transition is done, you're going to find that you're going to be provided much more support, and I think you should avail yourselves to that. And with that, I will try to be quiet for the rest of your meeting.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome, John.
Approval of the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Take a roll call vote. Marcus Major.
Yes.
John Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Alan Stewart.
Yes.
William Butchick.
Yes.
Doug Tyson.
Yes.
Steve Skeet.
Yes.
And William Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay. Secretary's report.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. On today's agenda, you have one item on the consent agenda. It is for a preliminary and final plat of a one-lot subdivision. Additionally, you have 4 items on your regular agenda. The first item, staff is we're going to recommend tabling, just so you are aware. Aside from that, you have 1 preliminary and final plat, a special use permit, and then a language amendment. Additionally, in regards to next month's meeting, so May 10th, 2023, staff would like to hold a study session for you, or with you guys, about an upcoming case. Give you guys a little bit more clarification before you actually have to hear the public hearing. So we would request that we hold that work session either before or after your regularly scheduled meeting. Is there any preference on what time we
In May,
visit? In May 10th.
I prefer after.
Yeah. After.
After.
After's fine.
After.
Doug, you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is it for staff's or secretary's report.
Okay, any declarations?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am a party to the consent agenda DEV 23-040 and 041, so I'll be abstaining.
Anything else? Okay, take a vote on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as provided by the staff.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Marcus Major,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Abstain.
William Gotchek,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Will Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now hear case DEV 22-100, preliminary plat, Highland Meadows is outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Planning staff will now give the staff report.
All right, Commissioners, this is case number DEV 22-100. This is the case that staff is recommending to table. There is additional items we need to be able to provide an appropriate recommendation to you. So at this time, staff is recommending tabling. I believe the applicant is in support of that recommendation.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Any additional information? Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion on the request.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table case DEV 22-100 Highland Meadows as it is written for a later date. Or do we
It needs to be a
table?
date specific.
We table it for tonight, or we table it at a later date? Is that what you're recommending, or is that what
Table
you're
it to a date specific.
10 May?
Do you think you'll have the information on May 10th?
I hope so.
Would there be any reason why we would want to delay further?
I don't anticipate, but of course, with additional information that's needed, additional time may be required to fully review it. So hopefully we can get it to a point where it could be reviewed by this body.
We can table it again.
Well, we can move it to the
May
middle of
10th.
June, to the June one. And if
I'd-
it's ready
I'd
on
say
the
the
10th,
May.
we
Shoot for May, we can always table it again.
okay. All right. To May 10th, 2023.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, do a roll call vote. Marcus Major,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Yes.
William Gotchek,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Will Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0, 8-0. This now so I just put on say being tabled to May 10th. We will now, Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now hear case DEV-23-031 and 032. Preliminary and final plat, Summit Farms is outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Planning staff give report.
All right. Good evening again, Commissioners. Before you is case DEV 23-031 and 032. It is a request for a preliminary and final plat approval for what is named Summit Farms. This property is located on 258th Street, pretty much all the way to the county limit on the southwest corner of the county. The property in question is zoned RR 2.5. The applicant is proposing to subdivide this parcel into what would be 4 lots that range in size from approximately 5 acres to a little over 13. They are going to be accessing from 258th Street on all 4 lots. Additionally, they will be, based off of the information that was provided by the Rural Water District, there is water access to this site. However, it's only limited to 2 meters at this time. So either they will need to extend the water line, which I believe they've been in communication with the Rural Water District to do. Otherwise, the lots are over 5 acres. Water well is something that they could pursue if they so choose. Additionally, this is in an area that is outside of 660 feet within a city limit or another sewer district. So staff is recommending approval or waiving of the sanitary sewer requirements to accept septic systems on the property. The reason why you guys are hearing it as a regular agenda item is because there are going to be 2 exceptions that need to be granted for this. The first would be for lot 1, and the second would be for lot 4, and that would be for the lot width to lot depth requirement. On lot 1, there is floodplain that exists on the western side of the property. So they're proposing a lot that is too long for the width that they are proposing. However, when you take into account that floodplain, it is within that lot depth to lot width range. Therefore, staff is generally in support of that. The other lot, lot 4, is actually at the very bottom of this property, and as you can probably see, it is a uniquely shaped lot due to the fact of a creek running on the backside of it. There is most likely no other way to design an additional lot there that would meet lot depth to lot width. So again, staff is in support of that. And I can pull up, as you can see, the proposed final lot. Otherwise, this subdivision does meet the minimum standards of the RR5 zoning district and our subdivision regulations. So again, staff is supportive of the request.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Is there any additional information to be presented? Are there any questions or comments from members of the commission?
Lot 4 down there, the long, spiky one. How many acres is that again?
Approximately 13.
And this is RR 2.5.
RR5.
RR5. Are there any prohibitions, or do we need to put a condition in? Because if whoever purchases that particular lot wants to subdivide again into RR5s, I mean, there's 13 acres, but then we'd have 2 subs or non-standard size lots.
Sure, I understand what you're saying. One of the limitations to re-subdividing that parcel specifically would be road frontage. The road actually ends about 300 feet into that lot. The rest of it, there is no roadway that exists. So to subdivide it, you would potentially have another lot that has no frontage, and that's not something staff would be supportive of.
Okay. Thank you. I had one other question. In the staff's workup, it talked about the possibility that the KTA Interstate 70 will be expanded to 6 lanes. How much would that impact on lot number 1?
They did not specify to me what their plans are specific to how much additional right-of-way they might be seeking in the future. He just wanted us to be aware that they were doing that. Again, that portion that abuts the turnpike up there is actually in the floodplain. Generally speaking, staff recommends not building in the floodplain. So I anticipate any additional frontage that they would take or right away that they would take would be frontage.
Thank you again. Sorry, I'm done.
You're fine. I'll entertain a motion on the request.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion case DEV 23-031 and 032 that we approve. The preliminary and the final plat is recommended by the staff and in consideration of golden rules.
Second.
Is there a discussion of the motion? Roll call vote. Marcus Major,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Yes.
William Gotchick,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Will Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carried 8-0. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than the April 26, 2023 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Okay, Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider case DEV-23-027, special use permit for retail sales and service for rock hard yard art as outlined in the provided agenda. Public hearing is required. Public staff will now give a report.
Before you is case number DEV 23027. As stated, this is a request for a special use permit on the property located at 20264 Golden Road. That property is currently zoned rural residential 2.5. The applicant is proposing to run a retail sales and service business. More specifically, they want to do an outdoor yard art retail business on the property. That use does require a special use permit in the RR 2.5 zoning district. The property in question, as you can see from the aerial, it has an existing house and some existing accessory structures on the property. The applicant does reside on the property. She has indicated on her site plan, as you can see up here, that they are proposing a display area to be located to the west of the existing house. They also are showing that their parking will be within the existing paved and gravel driveway that they have on the property. Now, staff does recommend that that a revised site plan be provided as a part of approval, if you guys so choose, to remove the 2 parking spaces that are shown on the Circle Drive. They would have sufficient parking per their narrative. Without those 2, from staff's perspective, it's blocking potential vehicular access on and off the property when you are parking on that Circle Drive. So that is where staff's recommendation is from. Additionally, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Going through the 7 factors, the property is matches currently the character of the neighborhood. It's similar size and of similar use to surrounding properties, which is ranges from 2.5 acres to 61 acres in size. The nearest city is the city of Linwood, which is approximately a quarter of a mile to the east. So it is outside of their urban growth area. Additionally, number 2, zoning and uses of nearby property. Adjacent uses are all residential in nature. There are some agricultural uses, but the majority of them are residential. They are also all zoned RR 2.5. However, there is one property that's adjacent that's zoned PUD. That PUD was established for a auto repair property, and then there is a special use permit a little bit further up the road from here that is for an event barn. Suitability of the property for the uses to which it has been restricted. This property is 4.7 acres and it has 3 frontages. It has K32 on the north. It has 206 on the east and Golden Road on the south. The applicant is not proposing to utilize access off of K32. KDOT did respond and said, no, obviously no access would be permitted for this parcel. Additionally, they are proposing that all vehicle traffic, as you can see from their site plan, would be coming off of Golden Road. Public Works did review this, and they have no further comments for access and such on the property. Extent to which the removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. The proposed use will generate a little bit of extra noise due to the nature of it being an exterior interior business. However, from staff's perspective, it probably will not generate enough noise to be considered a nuisance to surrounding properties. Traffic, obviously, this is a proposal that is going to have customers coming on site, so it will generate additional traffic. However, like I said, Public Works did review this and determined that the proposed traffic would not create any additional usage that would trigger any sort of traffic study or impact fees. Lighting, they are proposing security lighting for their business on the side of the house. However, again, staff will recommend that all the lighting shall be limited to 0.00 foot candles as measured from the property line. That is our standard condition for lighting. Additionally, outdoor storage. They are proposing, obviously, to store their wares outside. This is obviously an outdoor display area where all of their product will be stored. Staff is recommending that there be some sort of screening, blocking some of that storage from the public right-of-way, whether it be fencing or landscaping, just to reduce the commercial appearance in this otherwise residential neighborhood. Additionally, as mentioned, they are showing parking on the property. We do recommend, obviously, they remove the 2 parking on the Circle Drive just because of vehicular access issues. However, the remaining parking is more than sufficient to support the use that they are proposing. For visitors and employees, the applicant anticipates approximately 5 visitors a day during their hours of operation, which is expected to be Friday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. They are not proposing any additional off-site employees at this time. And then waste, they are not intending to store any chemicals, lubricants, oils, or other types of waste on site. However, any waste generated from the business would have to meet all state, local, and federal regulations. This property, number 5, length of time the property is vacant. It is not vacant. Obviously, there's a single-family house. The applicant resides on the property. 6, relative gain to the economic development, public safety, public health, safety, and welfare. The proposed applicant would be adding another business to Leavenworth County. So it does propose gain to economic development. Otherwise, staff does not feel that the applicant's proposal would in any way cause detrimental effects to public health, safety, or welfare. And then the last item we consider is conformance to the comprehensive plan. The future land use map has this area designated as residential, so limited to 2.5 acre parcels. Obviously, it does not match the comprehensive plan, so staff noted that it does not meet that criteria. I believe I went over most of everything listed there, but staff has provided some recommended conditions of approval. Currently, staff is recommending denial. However, these are the conditions that we would recommend to you if you choose to recommend approval of this request.
Okay. On opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item, upon recognition, will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion of this hearing is now open. Does the applicant wish to speak?
Yes.
I wanted to start this.
Need your name and address, please.
I'm Jennifer Stewart, the owner of the property at 20624 Golden Road. It was mistyped on the slide. But I wanted to start this business because in the early morning of March, I think it was 27th, 2022, someone stole a gargoyle that looked like this, that was 4 feet tall off my porch. That was a gift from my in-laws. We found a replacement, but we found that a lot of people asked where we got it. Upon recognizing the hole in the market for yard art and concrete statuary, I decided that opening a business would be beneficial to me and beautifying the community. So I'm asking for approval for this special use permit.
Question.
What was the hours again? Did you just say Friday through Sunday only?
Friday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
I have a full-time job, so
I figured that's what it was. Yeah. Well, now basically that'd be doubling up. So now you got like 2 full-time jobs.
basically, yeah.
Do you have any issues with any of those conditions that have been set forth?
No.
That's what I was going to ask about the no signage. How are people going to know how to find you with no signage allowed on the right of way?
We market mostly on Facebook,
Okay.
and I've claimed the Google business page profile, so that's most of the marketing, is getting the word out through Facebook.
And to clarify, that condition just is no signage is allowed in the right of way. They can have signage on their property, but it has to conform with our regulations.
Can they be permanent signage?
Yes, there could potentially be permanent sign on the property. However, again, it has to meet Article 25.
Right.
Do you manufacture all this?
We do not.
So it's all,
I collect it all from wholesalers and sell it retail.
and no other help, just your family help?
Just me and my husband. That's all.
Would it be wise to ask for a permit with some help if there's growth or,
If there's growth, I'll move it off the property.
pardon me?
If there's growth, I'd move it off the property if it got beyond what I could handle at my home. I wouldn't want that many people coming to my home.
Okay.
You have storage space for damaged goods.
Damaged goods don't usually happen. Like, if something is damaged, it's repaired.
Okay.
So there's no storage for anything damaged.
Okay.
So you're basing this on, the idea grew from someone stealing it from
From our porch.
your porch. How are you going to mitigate the risk of them coming in and cleaning out your storage since all of it's going to be outside?
Our storage is in a fenced area that's locked, and there are security cameras on all of it.
Okay.
And lighting. You're adding lighting off by your house, right? For the
We have
outside.
existing security lighting on the house.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can see the lighting and the cameras on her photos. At least I can. Pretty large.
Thank you. We will now hear from those individuals present wishing to speak in favor of the request. We will now hear from those individuals present wishing to speak in opposition to the request. Is there any additional information to be presented? Public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the commission?
I'd like to ask a question of Amy. In the packet, we have an email between you and David Van Paris where it was discussed some suggestions. Are those some things that we should be considering as part of these recommendations of conditions?
Yeah, the legal counsel did review, and they provided additional commentary or additional proposed conditions, which you will find as condition number. It actually should not be 5. We have a numbering issue on our slide. However, it is condition number 13 and number 14 on your list of conditions.
Commissioner Gottschalk, if I could offer this, those recommendations are in no way a reflection of any particular concern regarding this applicant. I think she's explained to you that it's a very minimal impact operation. Those conditions are ones that I'm going to propose. You can discuss that with Mr. Jacobs and Misty for all SUPs. So it's, for want of a better term, boilerplate, but I think it's also something you may want to consider applying to every special use permit that comes before you.
Agreed.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion on the request.
Before we do that, since there is another special use permit nearby, it's where
They're outside the notification area, but they are within, the vicinity.
Okay, so they're not within the notification area, so they're greater than 1,000 feet away. Okay, so we're putting another special use permit into an area that's outside the the growth area or the current proposed growth area of Linwood and over 1,000 feet away from other special use permit. I mean, if they were grouped a little closer, it would make sense to put a special use permit in there. And even maybe makes sense at some point to potentially change zoning. But since it's outside that, that's why you're recommending that we do not approve.
Staff's recommendation for denial is solely based on item number 7. That it
Which
does not
is
match
the future
of the
land
property.
use. Okay. All right. Thank you. That answers my questions.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion on the
I
request.
have one question, if you don't mind, please. Should these proposals that you're proposing for all special use permits be included in this one?
I'd suggest they be included in all special use permits, Commissioner.
Okay.
Is it in there?
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet, it's just not up there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Right.
we make a motion, should we?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Should be reflected in number 13 and 14.
Yeah.
Just 13 and 14. Can I ask the owner, are you aware of those two items?
No.
Is that going to be a problem for you?
Well, I'm trying to find out what it is.
It's 5 and 6 up on your screen right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
the
No.
numbers messing me
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, again, the chances of either of those provisions ever applying to this proposed use are remote. But I think they're there to protect the public in general because we have seen other instances, not anticipated in this one, where the provision against having a public nuisance on the property and allowing inspection would have been beneficial. We didn't have those provisions in the past.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion on the request.
I'll make a recommendation, motion that we approve DEV 23-027 with the limitations of the county staff and items 13 and 14 as proposed by legal counsel. Is that motion going to cover things, Counselor?
I believe so, Commissioner.
Okay.
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion? Roll call vote. Marcus Major,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Yes.
William Gotcheck,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Bill Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Board of County Commissioners will now consider this item no earlier than May 3rd, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Kansas law allows a petition protesting the decision of the Planning Commission to be filed. That petition must be filed within 14 calendar days of the date of this hearing. Additional information on filing a protest petition can be obtained in the Office of Planning and Zoning. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider case DEV-23-037, consideration of the amendments of the 2006 Leavenworth County zoning and subdivision regulations as outlined in the posted agenda. Public requires public hearing. Public comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Staff report.
Before you is a request to amend the table of uses, which is Article 19 of the zoning and subdivision regulations. This request is necessitated by the fact that upon review of our regulations in regards to public and private utilities, staff has found that there are a few discrepancies within our current table of uses. primarily due to water towers and electric substations. In your staff report, we provided you with tables showing where those discrepancies exist. So in regards to water towers, you will see that there are actually 2 use categories that label water towers. And as you will see, the public utilities, the top one, only allows them in certain zoning districts. And then the bottom one, public and private utilities, it references water tower in that use category. It's the very last one. And it does not match where the proposed usage of water towers would be permitted in what zoning districts. Additionally, if you go to the electric substations table, you will see we have 3 use categories that reference electric substations. The first is public utilities, electric substations. The second is public-private utility substations, including but not limited to cable, electric, fire optics, natural gas, oil, petroleum products, yada yada. And the last one just says electrical substations. Again, none of these match. So we actually were reached out to by Evergy in regards to establishing a new substation. We told them in the proposed zoning district that they were trying to establish it in. It's not a permitted use. However, they pointed us to the fact that we have this discrepancy within our current use table, so we are here before you today to try and fix that. Staff did provide some recommended amendments, which is included in this table before you, but you can probably see it better on your staff report. This recommendation is based on the fact that in 2020 there were some proposed amendments regarding these 2 types of uses, and we are recommending that you keep those changes from the 2020 language amendment and then delete the rest. So if you guys have questions, I know it's a little tricky, let me know.
So what does the table look like if approved today?
So as you can see up here or on that table, I have crossed off the electrical substations, the public utilities, electric substation use categories. Those are older uses that were in our table before 2020. And then just reference the public and private utility substation, that bottom one, which would allow them as special uses in most districts except for industrial, which would be an allowed use by right. Additionally, for the water towers, we kept in the public utilities use category that specifies to water-related utilities, so drinking water towers and standpipes, which again, it's only permitted or is an allowed use in the RR zoning districts, the industrial zoning districts. In addition to that, it does say on the bottom of that last one, water tower, but we amended that to include private water towers. Some businesses might have private water towers on their property, so that is in reference to that. Otherwise, if like a rural water district wanted to create a public drinking tower, they would go under that public utility use category.
So as I read it, then those top 2 lines there are essentially deleted.
Yes, we are recommending that you delete them to remove those discrepancies.
Okay.
Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since this is a public hearing being recorded. Public comment portion of this hearing is now open. We will now hear from those individuals wishing to speak in favor or opposition of the request. Is there any additional information to be presented?
Additionally, I did include Evergy's or their consultant's email to you, obviously making their request for this to be reviewed. I just forgot to mention that in my report, so I wanted to make you aware. Otherwise, staff does not have any additional information.
Okay. Public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments from members of the commission? entertain a motion on the request.
Mr. Chairman, I'll recommend that we approve case number DEV-23-037 as recommended by staff.
Second.
Adequate?
Second.
Wolf beat you.
You're third.
Is there a discussion of the motion?
Fourth. Doesn't matter.
Any further discussion?
I think we need to discuss this one for a long time.
We do a roll call vote. Marcus Major,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Yes.
William Gotcha,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Wolf Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than 9 a.m. on May 3rd, 2023 in the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, could I just make one request of the staff? And I know you're talking about training at the end of the May 10th meeting. When we met with the county commissioners back in January, they said they would like to meet on a more frequent basis. Could we ask the staff to present to them that we'd like to meet again just to talk about some of the things?
We can certainly make that request to the Board of County Commissioners. They are the ones who set their work sessions like they have in the past. So.
Okay. And specifically, continue to talk because, again, when we approved the land use, the future land use map from the county plan, we had talked about some of the issues that concerned us, and we need to continue to have those discussions so that when we get to the 2024 review, we can either have recommended changes or just not do things as we've done in the past. Just rubber stamp it if there are areas that we shouldn't be that we should be moving forward on.
I said, I do know the board is interested in input from this body. I respect you, respect the work you do. If I could offer this suggestion, generally an invitation for a meeting goes better if the topics for that meeting can be outlined. So if by consensus you folks put together a list of things you'd like to meet with the Board of County Commissioners to discuss, that will certainly be forwarded to them, and I think you should anticipate that meeting would be scheduled.
Well, I continue to remain concerned about the transportation plan as it relates to the future land use because I think there's a disconnect, or not a disconnect, but I'm not certain. I see our future land use and the transportation plan, and I know they've been out briefing. They have a contractor who's briefing the transportation plan to the cities. I watched the one in Leavenworth. I didn't get to watch the one in Lansing, but I'm assuming they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, it was.
And because there's some things in there. For instance, the 20th Street, 158th Street connection is one that, quite frankly, impacts a lot of what we do, and could potentially impact economic development, among other things. That's one of the things that I think we should be, if maybe we should get the same briefing if you think it's worth it. I don't know. I mean, I'd kind of like to look at some of those routes and some of the things that they were pointing out. I'm not certain that particular briefing does us any good because it was kind of focused on how to prioritize them.
Yeah, it was more of a results from a survey, results from what people want, results from what we feel or what we think would be good equity to grow, i.e. the one that most entertains me is the East Bypass Bridge and so forth. You know, what Commissioner Jeff Culberson carries with him all the time, rightfully so. I mean, that's good for all of our communities and not just where it intersects. The perception is that it's driven by Lansing. So there's the K5 improvement plan in that road network to improve 435 and connection to Leavenworth County. There's some goodness in it. But I would ask that you all could go to the Lansing site or the Leavenworth site and look and listen and watch his presentation, and then take away from there, and then we can determine if that's something we want to pitch to the group, or we could definitely propose a topic to the county commissioners that we would like to discuss the transportation plan. I think you're spot on, Doug. I mean, that's part of what one of the gentlemen here tonight was talking about before, is as we get into this year and start working towards next year's plan, that's one of the topics is the transportation plan.
Yeah, I mean, it is a 2030, I believe, the land use plan is for 2030.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be static, I don't believe.
Yeah.
And that's what the Planning Commission should be pushing
Right.
forward on, is not making it a static plan that we just roll out once a year and approve, and then whenever we have, a planning or zoning or a special use permit, we roll it out and say, no, it doesn't fit. I mean, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm just saying that I think it should be a more, personally, I think for our benefit, the Planning Commission's benefit, and then the Board of County Commissioners' benefit, it should be more of an evolving document that shows what the commissioners kind of think they want to do into the future, push so that the economic developers can work on it, so that the transportation networks can see what we're looking at. Frankly, I was shocked when I saw the 20th 158 proposal, because I'd never seen that before. And I drove it today just to see what it might be, and I'm going, okay, why are we doing this? So that's just something that I think we should do as we continue to look at the land use map and evolve it over time.
Is it possible if I could just make a recommendation on what you're asking for topics for you guys with the county commissioners? I think as you look at integrating the knowledge of the staff here and helping you guys make future decisions, I would recommend that you include the economic development director into that and overlay his recommendations for economic development over top of the transportation plan early on, so that when the time comes for you to renew the annual comprehensive plan, you guys already have the information that you need, and those discussions can occur before it comes before you guys, and that way you don't have to keep tabling it as you move down the road. So.
That's something to consider. I'm not ready to make a formal proposal on an agenda. I mean, I don't think we're ready to make a proposal on a specific agenda at this point, but we should be jotting down our thoughts as we go forward and looking at transportation, looking at, getting the economic development director in here, since the county now owns one. And then the third thing that we could to potentially put on the list is since the county went out and talked to the cities, is also to take a look at the cities' future plans, so that we kind of know where they're thinking they want to go or not.
I think we've discussed that in the past. I think that's something that the staff was working on, getting the cities to submit that.
Well, they've all got them on their websites, but I mean, if we could, again, looking at our document is the future land use plan. I mean, I think that's our document, isn't it?
The comprehensive plan is much more extensive than just the future land use map.
Right.
The future land use map is a major component of the comp plan, but I mean, that document is a guiding addresses a lot more than just future land use. It talks about obviously transportation and utilities and all that.
Right. So that's just what I'm thinking as the planning commission. We should be interested in what the cities are looking at, interested in where the transportation is, where the economic developer thinks we should be focusing efforts, and so forth. Enough said.
Okay. Meeting is now adjourned.